Welcome to The Growth Equation. This isn't your typical business podcast. We're keeping it real about the challenges of scaling up, period. I'm Tristan Wright, and I've been there. I've built and scaled my own business. I've sold it. I've learned a ton along the way. Now I'm bringing you the no BS stories of founders who are in the trenches right now, navigating that messy middle. We're talking advertising, marketing, design, creative, branding, the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or running a team of 100. Everyone's got a secret sauce. That thing that makes them different, better. We're going to uncover it. So grab a coffee and let's get real.
Today we're talking to Anna from Kennedy Studio. Anna, welcome.
Thank you, Tristan.
Now, before we get started, there's something over your right shoulder in the painting that we have to look at.
Yes.
We have to talk about. So guys, if you aren't watching the video, turn the video on right now.
Yes.
What's the story?
So this is probably one of my favorite campaigns I've done with Kennedy to date. We worked with Club X for 2.5 years and they have been around since 1977. And so we did this campaign. It was called the Heritage Campaign. And the whole idea came from, I had this whole idea that your mother had a vibrator too, you know? And so we did this whole campaign set in the 70s of sort of women doing sort of innuendo type things, in the bath and then, with a massager sitting on the washing machine. And the voiceover was very documentary style voiceover of the history of the vibrator. So yeah, it's one of my jewels in my marketing crown, that campaign. And yeah, so I have her sitting over my shoulder with a little vibrator nestled in the bananas on the kitchen bench.
I love it. That's an awesome story. So that campaign, how successful was it, do you know?
It wasn't as successful as I hoped. And a lot of that did come down to like internal, the businesses or the client's internal sort of decision making. But in terms of what it could have been amazing. The ad did run during at the cinemas. The founder of Club X is a big cinema buff and he wanted it to be in the cinemas. But unfortunately, we weren't able to get it across the line in TVC or any other placements just based on the nature of the content, which I thought was hilarious because the women are all fully clothed and sexual wellness is a really big piece now. So I was very surprised we couldn't get it across the line. But
yeah. It's out of the box thinking. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So tell us a bit about who you are and how Kennedy was founded.
Oh, where do I start? So I've been in sales, PR and marketing for 20 years. And 6 years ago, I founded Kennedy. I was actually made redundant from what I thought was going to be my dream role. And that was a real catalyst for me to decide, all right, do I jump back in and look for a marketing management role, or do I dive deep into what it is I want to do with my life and do something on my own? And a little voice inside me said, do it. So I did. I started my own, I don't like to use the word agency, but I started.
I hate the word agency. It's overused, but everyone uses it.
It's the only way I can kind of describe it. But really what we are is an external marketing team. So very different model to an agency. We don't do account management. We exist and act exactly like an in-house team would externally.
So you don't do account management?
No.
Or are your team account managers as well as delivery?
Think of it this way. So if you were a CEO or a general manager in a business, right, you would have a marketing manager who is kind of the direct report. And then they would have a marketing team of social media, design, email marketing, all of those things, right? So my team, they do talk directly to the clients that they're working with. I don't gatekeep as kind of the marketing manager. So they talk to all the stakeholders that they need to about, getting approvals and content and things like that, depending on the role that they play. So instead of having sort of one person that is the connector to the client and then sort of talks to the rest of the team, everybody has access depending on what client they're working with.
Yeah, cool. So 6 years ago, made redundant. What did it look like then? What does it look like today?
Very, very different. I was a one-woman show when I started out on my own. working out of a little office in my home with my partner, and he was so gorgeous. He had all of this merch made with my logo on it. I had a mouse pad and a coffee cup, and he made a plaque for my door. And I really was sort of fumbling through, who was I? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to work with? Where is this going? And just sort of picked up referrals and small clients here, there, and hired my first staff member within sort of about a year because I realized I can't do everything. And we grew from there, but it was very small. It was a very different time back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you've obviously learned a lot along the way. How big is the business today?
So at the moment we have 7 staff, and currently we have 12 clients.
7 staff, 12 clients. We don't always get into this, but do you have a whale client, or are they all similar sizes? How do you manage that?
No, we definitely have clients that are bigger than others, but in saying that, everybody gets the same treatment. Everyone's made to feel as important as each other, but managing the clients that are slightly bigger than the others sometimes can be challenging, but at the same time, having the right internal processes definitely helps. But it's funny because sometimes the smaller clients actually demand a larger pound of flesh from me. And the
You know
bigger
what? That's normal.
Yep.
That's why, like, seriously, from my experience working with so many different businesses, it's the smaller clients that expect more for less. So
Yeah.
you want to get away from
Yeah,
these smaller clients because
definitely. And that has been a huge learning for me across this journey. I've made mistakes. Definitely one of them would be valuing what we do by undercharging has been probably one of them. And then when I did undercharge, the expectations were still just as high as if they were paying what they should have been paying.
Yeah. So, okay. 2021 or 2019. So it would have been just before COVID that you
It
started.
was just before COVID. Yes.
What was it like? Because you wouldn't have been very stable when you set the business up and COVID hit.
Yeah, it was very interesting. To be honest with you, COVID played a role in benefiting my business, believe it or not. Because
I
what
do.
happened, yeah, because a lot of people all of a sudden, a lot of business owners, right, had a lot of time on their hands and realized they needed to actually be working on their business. And marketing plays a huge part in that, right? So it was actually really great. COVID was a good time. It was when we started picking up some really interesting clients, one of which turned out to be our longest running and largest client. And we met over Zoom. We worked together over Zoom for like a year, which was amazing. So yeah, it was actually a really good time for me.
That's awesome. So, okay. So 0 to 7. We had a really good conversation last week before this. And I think from memory, we're talking about your ideal target client. Talk to me about that and what I was saying.
It was funny because I told you that we don't niche by industry, because I myself in my career have worked in so many different industries, and I love that. I love that diversity. I love being able to be challenged by working with so many different industries. And, I love the founder to founder piece. Working directly with founders is probably one of my favorite things. But it was really funny because, during our conversation, Tristan, you kind of highlighted the fact that I actually do niche. A big thing for me is I really want to work with people who understand the value of marketing, understand that it's a marathon and not a sprint, that there is a lot of work involved. There's a lot of expertise involved. There are no quick wins in marketing. If you're following trends for trend's sake, that trend is already old. So you're not really being creative or dynamic in your, the way that you're marketing your business. So yeah, I really just love working with people who understand that marketing should be more valued. I feel like it's a very undervalued part of running a business. I really do. I feel very strongly about the fact that we need a bigger education piece on that.
Totally. So where we were last week, that conversation was, you'll serve everyone. And I'm like, no, you don't serve everyone. You've got your type of persona. You don't niche by industry. You niche by personality type or individual type.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was actually a real eye-opener. I was like, I'd never thought about it that way.
Because for me, if you niche by the type of person you work with, you know who you get along with, and it's a lot easier to sell to them or to support them or help their business grow. So it doesn't matter what the business looks like on the outside, as long as you're dealing with the correct person on the inside.
Definitely. And that has been some challenges along the journey, but I definitely feel like I've nailed that now.
I want to hear about those challenges. Which was the worst one? Don't name names. Or
No, of course.
Maybe you can name names.
No, it's totally. I mean, I think one of the biggest learnings for me very, very early on, and when it was myself and just one other staff member, and when we also had like a sort of a part-time marketing assistant as well, is we took on this client, and from the outside it looked really like no-brainer. It's a really easy category to market, a very popular category. And I think what I realized was finding how to balance the client expectations and actually what we can deliver for them was a real challenge for me. And that person ended up actually letting us go and refusing to pay about 3 months of invoices because she said that we overpromised and underdelivered. And it was a really interesting experience for me to really look at it and go, who's at fault here? And I think that has really helped me transition to this very, very clear setting of expectations before we start on this journey together. I think a lot of people think, they have a business, they hire marketing, and boom, you're going to get all these followers and all this money, and it's all going to happen really quickly. And they don't have to be as involved as they think they need to be involved. You know what I mean? So that was a really big learning from me, setting expectations.
Do you have a in-scope, out-of-scope document? Is that how you set it up at the start, or how do you set expectations from the start?
Definitely verbally. I think from the very beginning of the initial discussions, I really ask a lot of questions of what their expectations are, what are the business goals, right? This is the biggest thing I ask is, what is your business goals? Because we need to figure out how the marketing is going to achieve those business goals. So, I talk to a lot of people, and it's sort of like, we just want to do paid ads. And I'm really clear in saying, we don't just do paid ads, and I'm going to tell you why. And so it is kind of that education piece. So it really does start with a conversation. And I do make sure that when I'm scoping it out and we lay out, the deliverables and the costings and what the client's going to get, that there's no guarantee. So we don't sit there and say, in 3 months' time, you're going to have this many followers. In 6 months' time, you're going to make this much more money. We don't guarantee, because you can't. You just can't. And I think any agency or business out there that has this whole, we can 10 times your revenue, sort of taglines, I think you're setting yourself up to fail, and you're setting expectations for a client that's probably going to let you go within 6 months' time.
Yeah. You can't make false promises.
No.
With my business, I say you need to be engaged for at least 6 months before you can start to see a financial ROI, because it takes time to turn things around.
Definitely. And I don't do locking contracts. I don't lock anyone in, because I want our partners to trust us, and we don't make guarantees. You've got 30 days to opt out. You've got 30 days to opt out, but I make it very clear that this is a marathon and it's going to take time. What does that timeline look like is different for every single client that we work with. So, I make sure that people feel supported in knowing that they're in this journey with us, and, we're constantly working towards those business goals, right? And if it happens quicker than we think it might happen, fabulous, but it might take longer.
Yeah, exactly. The journey to where you are today, smooth sailing, easy, hard. What have you learned? What have you hated? What have you loved?
It's interesting. My career's been I've had a lot of ups and downs in my careers, and I think I've learned, why that is, and we can talk about that later. But in terms of the Kennedy journey, I've definitely I'm still learning how to be more of a CEO and less of a people pleaser. I like to be liked, unfortunately, and sometimes in business that holds you back a lot with your staff and with clients and the people you work with. So I'm learning to be less liked. I'm learning how to understand the financial side of the business better, what we should be charging based on the services we provide and the expertise we bring to the table. That was a really big one for me. I'm still learning to get that right.
How do you scope, or how do you work out pricing to make sure you're charging the correct amount?
So I have an amazing external financial team. So I have a bookkeeper, Kate, who saved my life probably about 4 years ago. I think it's about 4 years we've been working together. Early on, she had a lot of phone calls with me in tears. But she has absolutely helped me understand the financial side of the business. And then my new accountant, Chris, we have just done our forecasting and budgeting. We've also worked out billable rates for all of the staff.
So that's a bit I'm looking at. How have you worked that out?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's an interesting one because I'm just going to turn that off. It's an interesting one because I had no idea how to do that. But what we've done is it's based on productivity output, and we've had a look at what their salaries are and then the operational cost of the business. And then we work out a reasonable chargeable rate based on their roles and responsibilities in the business.
Yep. Perfect. So it's your overheads. How much? So the way I look at it is flat rate overheads, convert that into how much it costs to open the business, how much it costs to operate the business on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
So for each staff member, it will cost between $40 and $70 an hour to just have them sitting at their desk.
Yeah.
And then you've got their salary. Let's say your salary is $50 an hour, built up, but then they're only actually charging out for 0.6 of that time. So you have to change that $50 an hour into that's about 0.8 kind of thing. So sorry, 80. So 80 plus that 50 is 130. So before you even start making money, like it's costing you $130.
Yep.
So, and that's just for a junior kind of thing.
And that's it. And I think that education piece with potential clients that you're working with is so important. And that's why, stressing the fact that working with an external team actually saves you money because you're not having to buy the equipment that we use, the platforms that are very expensive that we use. You're not having to pay super, holiday rates, all of this sort of stuff. So it's really that education piece with clients to understand that, they look at the figure of a monthly retainer and sometimes they're like, that's way more than I thought. But if you actually really break it down, they're actually going to be paying a lot less than if they were to hire this entire team full time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've gone and got that external support because previously you might have been charging $120 an hour based off that previous example.
I was pulling numbers I was like, I don't know, $1,500. I was just pulling numbers out of anywhere, Tristan. I had no idea what I was doing. And the biggest thing in this industry too is there's no transparency on when people charge, right? There's no transparency. So the client actually has the upper hand sometimes because they'll say, oh, you're way more expensive than blah, blah. It's like, you don't know. But also, like you said, every business has different operational costs. And that's why for me, I've always kept as much as I can along this journey, my operational costs lean. We don't need we're now in a beautiful studio, but it's in Heidelberg West. It's not in the middle of the city. I'm trying to, keep those costs down as much as I can along this journey so that I'm not having to have really exorbitant retainers for clients,
Yeah. Like if you were based, let's say in, I don't know, Chapel Street or Brighton and renting out of there, your OPEX would be automatically higher because your rent is so much higher. So rather than $50 an hour per person, it's $80 an hour per person just to let them sit down at the desk.
Yeah.
So, and extrapolate that out to the retainer. Yeah. So you can get just as good talent in Heidelberg West as you can in the city.
That's it. I mean, my staff live all over Melbourne. And we're really starting to attract some amazing talent because of the work we're doing and profile and all of that sort of stuff. And it's just about creating a space where they can be their most creative and do their job to the best of their abilities,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love some converted warehouse in the middle of Cremorne do you know what I mean? Just that would be cool. But, we're just not there yet. We're not there yet.
You're not there yet. Yes, it'll be cool, but then you're going to be charging more. So, that happy medium. So,
yeah.
We were talking before we got on the podcast about the leadership and your handing over work to your senior leadership team and expecting that the output would be amazing. So I'm not putting blame on your staff. I'm wanting to understand your leadership style and explain the situation we were talking about and what's worked and what changes you need to make.
It's interesting you talk about leadership style because I'm still very much working through that. I am a millennial who has had experiences with both good and bad bosses and leaders.
Mhm.
So I think I overcompensate because of that, particularly because of the way I've been poorly treated in the past in some of the roles that I was in. And so finding the right way to be a leader has been really difficult for me. I think I'm a bit of a pushover and I'm working on that at the moment. I'm working with two amazing women who are helping me with that on how to create a space that is respectful, but that's so I can hand over some more work. So, I recently handed over a piece of work to the team and I didn't completely review it before presenting it to the client because I put my faith and trust that it was completed the way that I expected it to be. And it wasn't, and it was disappointing. And then, like you said, Tristan, I have to turn the mirror up on me and go, okay, what have I done wrong here? Right. What have I done to allow that to have happened? And so I'm working through it. I'm figuring out how to have the best processes in place to be able to allow me to step away and not have to oversee absolutely everything, and put that trust and faith in the team. But it's a work in progress. It's a work
Yeah.
in progress.
We're always a work in progress. And once you've got to this level, you'll find that there's another level and you have to work on something else again.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. You have to learn to constantly evolve. But I think it comes back to that thing I said earlier where it's like I have to feel comfortable in the space to feel unliked at times.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, you don't employ your team to be your friends.
Yeah.
There's a direction that you're heading. You want them to like you. There's a direction you're heading in and you need to share that journey with them.
Yeah.
And they need to either get on the bus or get off the bus.
Totally. And you know what? I'm trying to turn the word like into respect. I think what's really important is to be respected as a leader, because I think when you're respected, that's when you get the best possible work out of your team. When they feel supported, but also, when they've got that respect to be able to deliver every time the best possible work that they can.
Yeah, totally. Because respect, they're going to follow, and then they're going to pass that on to the people beneath them as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do you think the business looks like for you in a couple of years' time?
Oh, I mean, what I would definitely like it to look is more people in the team because we've got more clients to service and work with. I'd like to see, I definitely got a bigger team. I've got a really dream org structure that I'm working towards at the moment, which is really exciting.
How many people are in that org structure?
Oh, I think it's close to it's close to nearly 15, 15 to 18 sort of people.
Avoid 16 to 23.
Okay, why?
Because that's where you either want to stay beneath 16 or you want to get it above 23.
Okay.
Because you'll have in that space, typically you'll have too many non-billable staff.
Yes.
And your profit margins will reduce until you're back above 23.
Yeah. There's only one non-billable person in my org structure other than kind of myself for part of it, No, really majority of the team are the dreamers and the doers and the people that are going to make amazing, marketing essentially. So I definitely see the team growing. I'd love to see, have more clients on the books that are just, really want to be a part of what Kennedy can do and support them and grow with them. I'm really looking forward to that, opportunity. So I'm hoping in 2 years' time, we'll hopefully be closer to double our size. That would be awesome.
That's good growth if you double the size in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So where do you see the industry going? Like I was talking to another client in a totally different industry last week about AI, and he was asking me what my thoughts on AI impacting his business and his industry. And I said, yes, it will, but your industry is much slower moving than the marketing, creative, the branding type space where AI is already impacting it.
Yeah.
So how do you see that on the creative side, AI, and how's it changed the way you look at things?
It's an interesting thing. I think AI is a really important part of the marketing industry, and I think we need to learn to embrace it on many different levels. I think that, outward facing AI, people aren't embracing it as much as, internally in marketing they are. So if we think about campaigns that have rolled out with complete AI models, and those brands being kind of ripped over the coals for doing that by consumers is really interesting. But I think it's an education piece, because if people understood how much it actually costs to hire models, to hire makeup artists, creative teams, all of these things, there's clients out there that just can't afford to constantly spend $30,000 to $50,000 on campaign shoots, right?
Wow.
So I think that there is a space for AI in the marketing creative piece, ensuring that there is still a human behind it that is coming up with the ideas, they're coming up with the creativity and the campaigns. I think that we have to work hand in hand. I think that there are certain jobs in marketing that may be diminished because of it. But I still believe that there's always going to have to be a human brain behind the development of ideas and campaigns and things like that, for sure.
Totally.
I'm not afraid of it, to answer the
Yeah.
question.
I think it's a tool. Like at the end of the day, AI is never going to fully understand context. So
Yeah.
rubbish in, rubbish out. We can't, unless AI's got an infinite memory and can access, like, what we've got over AI is our brain. We've got the ability to remember things that happened yesterday or last week or 2 years ago just by thinking back. AI can't do that. So AI can't build context or situational awareness to the level that we can. So unless we prompt it properly,
Yeah,
it's not going to overtake what we do. It's just going to be a support to make our life easier.
definitely. And that, I have to admit, it really has made our lives easier in some aspects. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to someone on Monday. He was putting together a proposal for his client, and he said it used to take him half an hour without AI, and this proposal took him 2 hours because he went down the rabbit hole of trying to correct AI and its outputs all the time. So we've also got to be careful that we don't go down the rabbit hole, and because it can take longer as well to do.
Yeah,
different tasks.
definitely. I think you need to know you said it perfectly. We need a rubbish in, rubbish out. So you have to know how to input the data for them to be able to give you, what you need.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you were to give another founder, another small business owner, one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
I definitely think that it's important to strategize and plan before you start out on this journey. So be it a founder of any business, I think it's really important to strategize and plan and really understand the market that you're getting into. It's this whole analogy, if you build it, they will come, is kind of bullshit. Like, you really do need to plan. You need to understand where you fit in the market, and you need to create a business that is going to stand out for all the right reasons to attract and connect. So always have a plan and always have a strategy first, and do not leave marketing till the last thing. Do not go, it's okay, I'll put all my money into everything else because marketing will make me money. Do not do that. Please do not leave like marketing to an afterthought.
Because it's a lot harder to find you today than it used to be, believe it or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise, and you're going to get lost in that noise, and if you don't invest in the right areas of marketing, it's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run. It really is.
Totally. Anna, thank you very much for your time.
No worries at all. Thank you, Tristan.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you, the best way?
They can email me at anna@kennedystudio.au. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can follow along on Instagram. Look for Kennedy Studio. Jump on our website. Yeah, but if you want to email me directly, you just go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into The Growth Equation. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button and leave a review. It helps us big time. Catch you next time. And if you want more, head over to evolvetogrow.com.au for show notes and exclusive content.